Welcome to Ladies in Tech with Lauren Deal and Kelly Mack, a show by women for women, breaking the IT stigma by empowering, inspiring, and highlighting ladies in tech. Let's join the ladies in the studio now for today's episode.
Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Ladies in Tech that is completely dedicated to celebrating moms. I'm your host, Lauren Deal, and I'm a tech enthusiast, but I'm so excited that I'm currently filming CCNA with Ronnie Wong, so I've been learning a lot and really diving into the IT Pro library. But Kelly, you've been doing some courses as well.
Absolutely. I've been working with Chris Ward. We just wrapped up ITIL 4 AMCS, which is acquiring and managing cloud services. And I also just passed my ITIL 4 Foundations exam. Woo. And the next one is the course I just got done teaching. Why not?
Yes, congratulations.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And, you know, like you said, why not? If you've already learned the information and been teaching it, you might as well get your certification. Yeah. We've got some, I think, cybersecurity things coming up over the summer. But other than that, I just wrapped, about a month ago, we wrapped LPIC with Dawn Pizzette. So that's in the IT Pro course library as well, if you want to check that out. So we've all kind of been diving into helping to host and teach these different tech courses. And we're also trying to learn as much as we can along the way.
Thank you so much, Kelly and Sophie. It is so great to be able to have all of the IT Pro TV courses at our fingertips. We encourage you to check it out as well. But this episode is all about celebrating moms because Mother's Day is coming up. And so thank you so much for joining us. We want to actually introduce our special guests today. They are the authors of Pressing On as a Tech Mom. They wrote an incredible book that celebrates all the things that are going on as mothers in the tech field. So ladies, thank you so much for joining us. We're excited to hear about the book you wrote, but maybe let's talk first about your journey to where you are today.
Sabina, want to kick us off?
Absolutely. So I started off in hospitality event planning at what is now known Crypto Arena in Los Angeles, formerly Staples Center, and really enjoyed that job, transitioned that into marketing and advertising. And during the Great Recession, I unfortunately was laid off, like a lot of America and people around the world. And I was seeking desperately to find income to cover, the expenses that we have living here in Southern California. I applied for a job as a customer success manager. I had no idea what that meant. I thought maybe it was this, frivolous hippie type thing. And I was going to at least go because the salary looked like it was reasonable. So I had no tech experience whatsoever. And this woman just saw something in me where my skills perhaps related, even on the periphery, but she gave me a chance. And I'm really grateful that she did because that led to a really wonderful career where I had the opportunity to use my mind and apply my skills to communicate with customers, keep them happy, and make sure that ultimately then the teams that I was managing were nurtured and fulfilled, grew into a nice leadership role, and ended my career in corporate America proper as a global vice president, leading a team of 100, a P&L of 70 million across 4 divisions, and loved what I did, but used then the other pivotal moment in my career, which was the pandemic that a lot of us have been rattled with. Use that opportunity to evaluate where I aspired to go next. And that was to join none other than my co-author here, Emilia, in her consulting practice, Growth Molecules, where I am now a leader there and consulting in the same work I did before, but now instead of for one company, for many companies. I love what I do. I get to do that while being a mom and working with one of my best friends.
Awesome, awesome. And Emilia, you guys, you were actually her mentor at one point.
Yes, and I think now we mentor and coach each other as we work so closely together. So it's wonderful. I encourage everyone to find a mentor to really challenge them and support them at the same time.
Well, Emilia, tell us about your journey as well.
So I was living in Canada and had just finished my undergraduate degree from the University of British Columbia, and had this big dream of seeing Hollywood like so many people dream of. And so I got in the car and I drove to California and stopped in San Francisco while I was at it to see the Golden Gate Bridge, but kind of got stuck there, fell in love with the tech scene that was going on in 1999, and pulled out Craigslist on my computer and started applying madly to tech jobs. I stayed in a hostel, shared a room with 3 other young people, and here we were trying to find jobs. And a woman named Casey Seidenberg gave me a marketing opportunity at a tech company right downtown San Francisco in one of those beautiful brick buildings that you see there. And I've never really looked back. I've moved to Europe, but somehow tech in San Francisco has always called me back. So I'm here 20 plus years later.
Wow, what an amazing story and journey. And of course, you know, you guys wrote the book, Pressing On Tech Mom. It's the Mother's Day special. So tell us about your kids. You know, how old are they? You know, are they tech savvy? You know, how is it being a mom and also, you know, having this tech career?
So I have 2 children. My daughter's 4, my son is 8, and they are way more tech savvy than I ever actually intended for them to be, right? A lot of studies have come out. I think even Steve Jobs perhaps didn't allow his children on the iPads and all the things. I said I'd never do that. I'd never be the parent at the restaurant giving their kid the iPad. And I absolutely succumbed to that, which is another thing to say, to plug no mom shaming. And the reason for that is I actually have a chance to talk to my husband, who also works in tech. So we do limit it. Now my son brings, you know, a chapter book and he reads that at dinner instead. My daughter's crayons and she colors. But we do use the digital babysitter from time to time, just putting it out there.
Don't we all? Yeah.
It's just, you know, I can't say I'm on camera, I'm on Zoom all the time, I'm using my phone, I'm using my iPad. And so I need to practice what I preach and make sure I disconnect too. So that is one of the ways that I balance, you know, being a mom working in technology. I have to balance that with the time for myself, making sure that even if it's not going to the spa and getting a massage, it's not that luxurious, that I'm at least taking the dog for a walk in the morning, enjoying the cool breeze and really recalibrating before my day starts. That's really important to me. And then also in terms of my children, I think bringing them into my work and letting them actually see what I do during COVID, that was a perfect example, for better or for worse, right? But ultimately my son is really keen on, he loves that I wrote a book with Emilia. He says, Mom, are you famous now? And I'm like, no, not so much. But you know, the goal is to help change the world. And so he's telling his friends at school about it. And so the parents are now stopping me and telling me their stories about being working moms. And that's just really fulfilling and helps motivate me to want to do more, to show my children and make the better place for them and future generations.
So Emilia, what about you? Tell us a little bit about your family.
Yes. So when I married my husband 17 years ago, I also married an 11-year-old boy. He's now 28. He does work in tech. He has followed my footsteps and calls me for advice all the time. So I'm super proud of him. I am his bonus mom and very proud of that title he's given me. But I also have a 16-year-old and then I have a 10-year-old daughter as well. So between the 3 of them, they keep us really busy. My daughters they don't think I'm famous at all. And they're curious about what I do. And they hear me all day long and they lecture me back when I'm lecturing them. And they say, Mom, I'm not your business client. Don't talk to me like a client.
Oh, wow. I like them already.
So it's pretty funny.
That is funny.
Well, I love that you touched upon the balance of, you know, who you are with all of your roles. You are a mother, you're a wife, you are an empowering tech success, and now you're authors. And so you're wearing a lot of hats. Talking about balance is so important. What advice would you give to a woman who is in her tech field? Things might have changed for her, whether she's working remote or has to go into the office, but she's wanting to follow in your footsteps. So what would you say to her?
Want to go first, Emilia?
Sure. I would say find out what you're really good at. Like get a piece of paper and write down what you're most passionate about, and then what makes you unhappy, what you don't want to do, what people have told you that you're supposed to do in your life that makes you unhappy. And then make sure you start crossing out all the jobs and careers that don't fit what your needs are. Because I have found once I left corporate, I've been a chief customer officer, I've held many different titles along my journey. I just realized after I got my MBA in my late 30s that I love being a consultant. I love doing strategy and enabling companies and people to grow. That's what I want to spend and dedicate my career to. And because I followed my intuition, I can now say we're a very successful company and we bring great joy to work, and I feel really fulfilled. So my advice is stop doing what society says you're supposed to be doing. Start doing what you're passionate about.
I love it. You got to follow your gut all the time and your intuition. And, you know, not only are you a tech mom, and an author, but, you know, let's talk about the journey of becoming an author, which is an entrepreneurship opportunity, obviously. Did you guys self-publish or did you have a publishing deal?
We worked with a publisher called Launchpad Publishing.
Okay.
And it's a hybrid approach to the go-to-market, if you will.
Okay.
We set out to tackle this tough topic because of the challenges that we personally experienced.
Mm-hmm.
And so the format of the book, we do open up with our own stories, and we do talk about the alarming statistics that only 27% of people in STEM fields are representative of women. And when you think about mothers, that's even fewer. What we find is that women who are getting to the age of child-rearing years and they cross that threshold, they typically leave the workforce.
Mm-hmm.
That coupled with our own personal experiences, as Emilia and I became closer and closer friends, we shared some of the hardships, right? I shared vulnerably with her about having a miscarriage on the job and having to go present to 500 people on stage with a brave face,
Lord.
right? Like she'll share stories, you know, and they're in the book as well about what it means to try to be a mom who chooses to breastfeed your children. And there aren't places with which to do that in a comfortable setting.
Mm-hmm.
State by state, there's different laws, but that doesn't mean that when you're traveling to a client site that they're going to honor what you need, what your needs are. So that's a challenge. And so we came together and said, you know, yes, we're busy. Yes, we have day jobs. Yes, we have families. We're sisters. We're dynamically engaged in our communities, right? On doing philanthropic work and being on our children's school boards, things like that. But this has to stop. We need to create a space for that to be shared. So the book opens with the hard stats. We talk about our stories to create a sense of vulnerability and show that we relate. And then each chapter is a different woman's story. Mm-hmm. We had the honor and pleasure of women opening up to us, and each chapter is a different theme and them sharing some of the really tough topics that they grappled with. And the best part about the book, though, is we have stories like Emily Chang's whistleblowing book, Brotopia, that was very influential for me and Emilia. This aims to also tell the story, but explain how they got into tech, why they're in tech, how they've stayed in tech, and how they're thriving in tech. So it's inspirational. It really means to leave each chapter with what to do next in your career. How do you grapple with this and still come out on the side where you want to be in tech, where you're having fun and you're thriving?
Wow. Well, it's been wonderful to hear a little bit about the book, kind of get a little teaser, and also to hear about your lives and how you got to where you are. For our audience, how can they connect with you on social media, and how can they buy a copy of your book?
So you can find us on pressingonbook.com, or if you search for Pressing On as a Tech Mom on Amazon, you will find the book there. It's a #1 bestseller in multiple categories. We're really excited about that. And 1% of all proceeds from the book will go to everymothercounts.org. It supports women having babies in America, because every 2 minutes a woman dies while giving birth. Mm-hmm. And the statistics show that it's the African American community, the Latina community, that are most impacted by these sobering statistics. So we really wanted to make sure that this book gave back to the many women, regardless of if they go into tech or not.
All right, before we wrap up this interview, ladies, who is this book for?
Sabina, want to take it?
No, you got it.
Okay. We wrote this book for several people. One, for obviously women thinking about having children or that have children that might be struggling or want to celebrate being a mother. We also wrote it for executives and the men on the top that are often the people who have the power to lift women up and to make space for moms. And so we, Sabina and I, both have had the opportunity to work for incredible men who have encouraged us, who have given us opportunities we never thought possible. This is our thank you to them. And for men that don't know how to handle when a woman asks, hey, can I have a room to go breastfeed? So that they feel confident and they know how to have empathy for new moms, because it's a really tough job. So this is our thank you to all of them and to all the men that are leading women. How do you show grace? How do you show empathy? Because we need moms in the workforce. They represent the many brands that these companies are building, and they're consumers of them. So why aren't they representing your brands in stronger ways as moms? That's who this book is for.
I think reaching all of these different audiences and to celebrate a mom in your life, I encourage you at home to go and pick up a copy of this book, Pressing On as a Tech Mom. Ladies, thank you so much for joining us today. It was a pleasure to have you.
And happy Mother's Day.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Likewise. Thank you for having us.
Well, that was Emilia and Sabina Pons. Thank you so much to those ladies for joining us. Because we are highlighting moms in this episode and kind of highlighting their book as well, we do want to show a little bit of an excerpt from their book so you can get a feel for what it's like. Maybe check it out yourself. So we've got an excerpt here about mentorship and sponsorship, which I think as a mom, I'm not a mom myself, but I know my mom was always my biggest sponsor and my biggest elevator and encourager. And so she has this excerpt in the chapter, I believe it's called Embracing Mentorship and Sponsorship. And so she says, mentors can empathize with you, sympathize with you, and they can give you advice that help you in the field. Sponsors, on the other hand, advocate for you and help you move up. So there is a little bit of a difference. Sponsors are in the room where others decide your future when you are not in the room. So they're there to advocate for you. Those sponsors advocate for you and let others know about your accomplishments. She also highlights the fact that nobody will speak up for you if they're unaware of your achievements or current initiatives. So it's important to make your contributions known. Broadcast your work and efforts to sponsors and to potential sponsors so that everyone knows of the impact you're making. Even as a mother or as a woman, if you can share your accomplishments, you'll always find someone to sponsor you and get to where you need to be.
You know, I was smiling the whole time that you were reading, Sophie, because I was thinking about things that I always thought was an absolute no-no, you know, saying, hey, I achieved this, I did this, can come off as braggadocious. But you need to make people aware of what you're doing so they can advocate for you and serve as a sponsor when you're not around. So I love that information.
I like the commentary of what the difference is between a mentorship or a sponsorship is. Mentors are telling you how to get ahead. A sponsor is the person who is lifting you when you're not even always present in the room.
Yes.
And so that could be a really great mother figure in your life, or it could be maybe you had a really great boss, male or female. It's really nice to have people who are cheering you on and to pushing you out of your comfort zone to your best self. So really powerful excerpt. We encourage you to go check out that book.
Definitely. Oh gosh, I feel like motivated behind this because not only do we all need sponsors and mentors, but we can serve as sponsors and mentors as well. That's our way of giving back.
I think that's what the show is all about, is really empowering women to go after their dreams and, you know, finding ways to get that ball rolling in all areas of tech.
Absolutely. All right, well, you know what? Let's go ahead and dive right into the lit tip of the week with Sophie. Sophie, what do you have this week?
Well, whether you're a mom in tech or whether you've just got a whole lot of plate spinning in your life, a lot of times it can be difficult to make sure that everything is scheduled and kind of keep track of your day-to-day tasks and what you've got going on every week. So the lit tip this week is all about usemotion.com. So usemotion is an app that uses artificial intelligence, which is something we touched on in a previous episode, to help you keep your day organized, especially for working moms that are juggling work tasks, home responsibilities, your kids' school schedules, and also taking time for yourself to recharge. So some may prefer to use a paper calendar or a virtual calendar, but this one works really well. It calculates your tasks, your meetings, and your work time and builds a schedule for you, and it prioritizes your tasks based on deadlines, meetings, and your working hours, which you can set for yourself. It doesn't allow others to schedule meetings on your calendar if you've already met the limit of your meetings for the day. So you can set a limit for yourself of how many meetings you want to have in a day, and it'll combine all your commitments into one view, so you don't have to have a separate calendar or planner for what you're doing at home, what your kids are doing, and what you're doing. You can keep it all in one place so that you're able to view it all at once. You can create tasks for exercising, meditating, and for learning as well, because it is important, I think, especially for moms, to take a little time for yourself. You put all of this energy into your kids, and I know that my mom did that, and I know that I would just want her to be able to take a little bit of time for herself to recharge and practice self-care. So usemotion can definitely help you do all of that. It'll block time on your calendar for those tasks every day. And you can try it for free if you really like it. They have options for both monthly and yearly subscriptions. And that's our tip of the week.
Well, that's fantastic. And we actually have another woman who is a mother that we're going to celebrate for this week's Wow. So Sophie, tell us about her.
So this week's Woman of the Week, her name is Jennifer Jolly, and she especially stood out to me because I have an interest in broadcast. Not only is she involved in tech as a tech mom, but she's also a consumer technology journalist and TV broadcaster. So she's a Wired Well columnist for the New York Times, a Tech Life columnist and host for Tech Now for USA Today, and she's a digital lifestyle contributor for The Today Show. So she's got a lot on her resume. She's also a public speaker, and she specifically focuses on women in technology, digital parenting, health and fitness technology, and tech-related consumer advocacy. So she's got a lot of topics that she touches touches on. She got her journalism degree from the University of San Francisco. Mass media studies was her degree. She worked as a general assignment TV reporter for 12 years and then shifted her focus to consumer technology. So the reason I wanted to highlight her is because she is a tech mom. She has self-described as an ultra runner, world traveler, and tech mom, and she's the founder of a website called techish.com. She says she hopes it becomes a place to help people get more out of everyday technology, because there are a lot of websites for early adopters of tech and real techies, but there's not a whole lot for the rest of us. So it's the site that she's always wanted at her own fingertips, with simple how-tos and authentic reviews, as well as live broadcasts, videos, and giveaways. So her goal is to help you get the most out of the tech you use every day in ways that are pain-free and fun. She calls that tech life balance. So that's our Woman of the Week.
All right.
I like that, because you know what? Not everyone's on the same level of their tech journey. Some people are starting. Some people have been in it for most of their career.
Right.
And I think we need to encourage women to dip their toe into the tech field and not be intimidated by this. And if you've been in the tech field for a long time, to not discourage someone just because you've been, you know, you're on chapter 30 and they're on chapter 1.
Right. Exactly. You have different levels to your career. You know, some people are beginning, like you said, some people are a pro, and then you have that happy medium. You know, so
it can be intimidating to look at some of the websites and books and sources that are out there that are more for people that are more invested in specific areas of technology, that maybe have more of a depth of knowledge. And so as somebody that's sort of just getting started or still learning, sometimes I'll look at that and I'll be like, well, that's not for me. I don't understand any of that. So it's nice to know that there's a website like this out there for somebody like me that is just kind of getting started, and it helps me to kind of dip my feet in and get comfortable.
Yes.
Awesome.
Well, I think this is the perfect time to have a moment of motivation with Kelly Mack.
If you don't step forward and make a move, you'll always remain in the same place. You got to get outside of your comfort zone and start moving towards your goals.
Ooh, that's a good quote. I mean, moms, is there ever a comfort zone? Like, once you become a mom, I think that's gone, right?
Yeah, well, you can, you know, continue to get used to things and routines and things like that, you know. So don't be afraid to get outside of your box.
And I think it's something that we hear a lot, get outside your comfort zone, get outside your comfort zone. But when you stop to think about it, it is really important to, if you keep doing the same thing over and over again and just staying stagnant, then nothing's ever going to change. So it is important to take a step forward, and no matter what direction you're going in, just, you know, figure out something else that maybe you can do, even if it's something small, just to change things up a little bit. And get outside your comfort zone. It is important.
Agreed.
I love the quote that we had, I think last week or 2 weeks ago, where you talked about how elimination, sometimes in order to bring new things in, you need to make space. And that's another section of the Tech Mom book. So that's fantastic. All right. Well, we would love to connect with you on socials. So make sure you're going to our Twitter or our Instagram and telling us what you love about the episode, what you'd like to see in future episodes, and engage with Sophie, because she is always on there creating dialogues, and we'd love to have you engage, and maybe you can nominate a wow. We'd love to hear from you. So thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Ladies in Tech. Now, Sophie, when can they find us?
You can find us every Wednesday at 4 p.m. We're on YouTube, and we're also on LinkedIn Live. And this episode of Ladies in Tech, as always, was brought to you by ACI Learning. So thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.